Beautiful. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, thanks. Joining you here from downtown Boston at my office, and thank you so much for joining us. For those of you just watching here, we're interviewing Chris Doherty from Doherty Properties up in the north of Boston from Greater Lowell area. And this is a series of interviews I'm doing with, I think, people that are doing really interesting things on social media. And I've been watching Chris for quite some time, actually. You didn't know that, actually, but I've been a stalker on your account for quite some time. And one of the videos that really caught my eye recently, one of your recent ones, was the one that you did with the laundromat. I thought that was great. Yeah. And you know the one, right?
I do, yeah, I do.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, and I did just a one with one of these last week, I have actually another one booked on Thursday, is to kind of talk with agents and people that are actually out there creating actual personal content like you do on Facebook and on Instagram and all these platforms. And I especially wanted to kind of, pick your brain and maybe that way you can share it with other people too about, why do you use social media? What effect do you think it has? If you're a new agent in 2019, maybe even a new agent at your office, what level of the mix should it be in order to be successful? Should you be 90% the old fashioned, work your network, or should it be 90%, internet? Where does that kind of balance fall for you? Now, you've been in the business for a long time, so I imagine you still have a lot of legacy business for people that still have rotary phones, right?
Yeah.
So
had one today.
I'm really happy to have you on. You're a 1% agent in the north of Boston, Massachusetts area. You've been in the Boston Globe, the Boston Herald, banker and tradesman. So it's great to have you on the Instagram Live today. And well, I'll just open it up to you. What do you think that mix is to be successful as an agent?
Well, first, thanks for having me on the show. I've been watching and seeing what you're doing and developing your social media presence, which I think is great. I think it's great for agents. I think it's good for people who want to get into the business, so they get an opportunity to see what experienced people think, how we perform, how we go about our day. And I think you're doing a great service. I think that's important. I think fundamentally the business hasn't changed in one dynamic, and that is that this is a sales business, right? And so at the end of the day, selling still needs a human interaction. There still needs to be a dialogue that takes place. And so social media to me is a supplement for what we do in a sales business. There's a couple of different theories, and there's a couple of different ways that I'll train our agents and newer agents. It's the benefit of Instagram and Facebook at that early level is you can let your friends, your family, your sphere of influence, and other people know for essentially no money that you're now in business, and you can start to cultivate that. But I'm a big believer in building your center of influence, okay? And by that, what I train folks to do is say, step one, identify your family, your friends, the people in your life that you've known. Go through and really organize them. Where are they? What's their phone number? What's their email address, right? So now you have all the people you know. Step two, add them on all your social media networks, right? And so don't replace the call. Don't replace that personal interaction of dealing with them. The way to do it is to just keep them engaged on your social media. So for me, I really use it as a way for my clients and people who I already deal with. They see me. So they say, oh, here's Doherty again, or now I got a mailer from Doherty. He's everywhere, right? There's this presence that everywhere he looks, there's Doherty, okay? And so, I think step one is identify your sphere. Step two is start to call them and communicate with them. Step three is add them to your social and start letting them see you there. So they'll start to get the sense that you're not just taking this lightly, that you're really in this business, and now you're building content, you're building a following, and they see other people liking and sharing, and it gives you enhanced credibility.
Enhanced credibility, or what I would usually call like social proof. Like your friends and family are like, do we really want to do business with Sally? And they like, she just became a real estate agent. Well, everyone's niece or nephew or whatever just became a real estate agent. So how do you really trust that Sally is going to be a good agent? You go look her up on Facebook or Instagram and see what kind of content she's putting out. For new agents that you have, and I know that you really kind of try to hire the cream of the crop as new agents. And of course, us old guys out there, where we're trying to catch up with these new people. But
yeah,
who do you see at your office, or what do you see out of younger folks that is really being effective out there for agents, generally speaking?
I think that
especially newer folks.
Yeah, so I think what's effective first is like treating this like a job, right? And so the first thing is the mindset. I think a lot of people, at least the people who are attracted to me, understand that. I don't like to sugarcoat. I don't like to promise riches without work. And so the first thing is really bringing that mindset of like, if I'm going to do this, I'm really going to do it, right? I'm going to put in the time. I'm going to treat this like a regular job. And at least at the fundamental level, I'm going to be there. The second level is now, once you're there, you have to talk to people. And so it's figuring out there are different layers to this, okay? There's social media. So now you're on social media and people will reach out to you and say, hey, I saw that house, or I saw you posted something. I'm in the market looking. Okay, put them in your database. It's door knocking. It's cold calling. It's you pick, I always say it's like 4 to 5 pillars. Don't just do one thing. Do 4 to 5 things and then see what's working and push each category and structure your day. So the people that I see are honestly, it's multifaceted. I have some callers that make $1 million a year. I have some people that do social media and they do it extremely well and they make a lot of money. I have people that are making money through direct mail programs, and that's their bread and butter. I have some people that, that do like a gift strategy, and they have clients and they give them to them. I think it's when you pick a pillar, do it well and do it deep, okay? Commit to it and then get multiple streams. Some people have one and they're successful, but I think the more lines that you put in the water, the more likely you are to catch fish, right? You could throw 1 line in, you could catch a big fish and you'll be happy for the day. Put 5 lines, put 10 lines. But when you're one person starting, you don't want to just spread out so thin. So I say find a couple of these pillars that you're willing to work within and go. So the number one thing is calling. I mean, truthfully, that fundamentally hasn't changed. When somebody hits me up on social media, I call them. When somebody comes in on a mail program, I call them. When somebody is on the street and they say, hey, I want to do business or I want to sell a house, I say, give me a phone number, and I call them. Layer one, social media to me is one, it's like a billboard of them out there. But when people come in, it's a lead generator. It's just another lead generator.
Make a list of everybody you know, put them on the list, call them, and ask them a real simple question. Who do they know that's going to be buying or selling in the next 30 to 90 days? I mean, that's a fundamental question, which I just heard from you.
Yeah, because think of it like this. And like I say to folks, so, on social media alone, I talked to an agent recently who's got a good social media presence. He's got over 1,000 people. He communicates on it well. And I said, what are you getting? 5 to 6 deals a year by doing that strategy, which is a lot of time. He said, yeah, that's about right. And so if you want to do over 100 deals or 50 deals, it's not enough. I said, yeah, but because here's the thing. Everybody who's watching this will see this scroll and then go, oh, that's nice. Chris Doherty, he's out there selling more real estate or whatever. Yeah, he might be a successful agent or whatever they think. But it's like it scrolls by and they move on with their life. And then they go out to dinner and somebody says, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I can help you sell their house. And they get the listing, right? Or think about your brother.
Because they're one-to-one.
They're one-to-one. And so you want to take that. Like I'm a believer in if you build your social media, work that list. Make that your sphere of influence. Start to call them. Start to mail them. Start to email them. Start to make them part of more than just a scroll on the screen. Bring them into your life and incorporate them. And social media is just a very inexpensive way at the early stages to communicate with them.
And I'm just going to add one other way to communicate with them that a lot of agents aren't maybe even taking advantage of, but it's actually right in front of us, is the DM, the direct message. That's actually how we got in touch, right?
100%.
I mean, you can almost meet anybody. You can reach on if you're a Facebook or Instagram follower or whatever, you can reach almost anyone with a direct message. So, if you see somebody posting a house that they're out there looking for a house or whatever, hey, we're out house hunting on Sunday. DM them. Oh, you're us. Let me help you out with that.
100%.
So, you could always email them or call them, but the DM is just another kind of quiver, that you can throw out of it. Chris, have you always been good on camera? Because I find that, the great thing that I like about your content, I don't know if I want to use this word, but it's very accessible. There's not a lot of super high production value, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. You just hold the phone and make it happen, and it seems very relatable, and it doesn't seem like you're putting thought behind it, but it's very like you're right there in the apartment. If Chris Doherty is showing you apartment on Instagram, you feel like you're right there in it with you.
I think
how'd you develop that over time?
I mean, honestly, straightforward. It's time, right? And so how much time do you really have to get it to a professional level? And do people really want that? I think a lot of people on social media, they like to see what their friend, their family member is doing, and it isn't always the slickest. And I think one of the problems that a lot of agents have is, listen, you think I like seeing my face on camera? You don't think that I have reservations of, I don't like this aspect about myself or that? You just got to get over it. And at some point, we just got to shoot. So it's like you have to let go of perfection and just build there. And so for the stage I'm in is like, hey, I'm really just trying to document my life and document what I do. And I hope that, and honestly, see where it goes. And so I've had these conversations actually quite a bit with people, and they're like, well, why don't you get somebody in there, slick these ads up? And I said, you know what? It'll seem like it's a commercial. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to just document what I'm doing, and people are responding to it, and we're seeing growth in those areas. But you're right. I mean, if somebody's out there saying they want to get on social media and they want to get a production team, I mean, it's going to take them weeks before they get their first video up. And so if you want to start content, you just have a phone, hit the camera, and talk about whatever it is that you think is relevant to the people that you're trying to communicate to.
It's a classic debate between, create or document is kind of what you're just talking about there. And you're out there documenting, and it's a lot easier to create content that way than, to make some type of slick video.
Yeah, for me, it's like, hey, this is what I'm really doing. Like right now, I'm really sitting in my conference room. I just had a meeting. We had this, and it's like, we recorded the meeting I was just in, right? And it's like, we're recording everything that I do. And then it's like, get it out there. When people come in, a lot of people come in and they come to me, not just in real estate, but different business for advice on business or other areas of life. And so now what I say is I have them come in, I sign a waiver and say, can we record this? There's nothing fancy. We hit the camera and we go. And it's like, it goes where it's going to go. A lot of times.
You got to send me that. I need that waiver.
Right?
Send me that thing.
I'm on your show.
I do a lot of similar type meetings. Actually, I did a meeting today, which I didn't want to record because it was somebody came in and was, asking me advice about a platform they're launching. And I would have liked to at least got some B-roll on that. But aside from that, Chris, tell us a little bit about Doherty Properties in terms of the type of agents that you like to recruit. What do you look for in an agent? And what is it that your agency offers, especially agents on the North Shore?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, what we do first is what I call talent that has not yet been developed, right? And so new people. We love to get new people that we believe have promise, but nobody's tried them before, right? So it's the untapped talent. So we love to attract that because they bring energy, they bring excitement, they bring this kind of new enthusiasm and new perspectives. And so we like to hire, undefined talent. But when we do, we like to put them on a team because our goal is to try to make sure that they're successful. And sometimes it's hard when you're out there alone trying to do all this. We like to have a period of time. Then as they develop into talent, we have different opportunities for them into different roles in the company. They can continue to sell. They can take on management. They can run a team. And then we have people that are recognized talent and they're proven talent that they've gone through, they have sales performance. So for us, it's really about the person that we get. We want to make sure for us in what we like are people that understand that this is a job. It's not a hobby for us. And so we're not looking for hobbyists. We're looking for people who go at this full time and they really want to be committed to this. Then the second thing is plugging them in. If they're new, we want to put them on a team. We want to give them structure, leadership, enthusiasm. And if they're experienced, supporting them in the way that they need. And everybody's different once they get to a certain level. And so what we offer is administrative help for the people that are here, a great environment and a culture that's really positive, but also one that isn't for everybody, quite frankly. And I'm not looking for everybody, because we like people who understand, like, at the end of the day, when people come into me, I'm going to say, did you work this week? Like, your numbers are down. You didn't work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So why are you surprised that you didn't hit your goal? And so I'm a little bit of a realist and an optimist, but also being very truthful with people. So the folks that we like is that we bring them in. We want you to work hard. We'll have systems and structures and people around you who will help make you successful. But you've got to do the work.
It sounds like for clients, from the client side, you do a lot of multifamilies. You do a lot of you help people buy multifamilies, but then you also rent those units out. And for me, I've always loved the real estate agents there's a bunch of real estate agents out there. Maybe we don't want to talk too loud about. They're kind of like rental snobs, and they would like never do a rental. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't do a rental. And I always find that rentals always lead to bigger and better things. In fact, just while we're on this call, I just got a text from one of my clients. I do his rentals, and he wants to buy some property. Rentals always lead to bigger and better things. If you're in a urban area or semi-urban area, there's usually opportunity for rentals. So you folks do a lot of rentals. You do some multifamilies, but in a nutshell, just give us, what else does Doherty handle?
Yeah, I mean,
Doherty
basically, properties? We're a geographic leader, right? So we will do residential, commercial, we manage, and we'll do rentals in the area. We follow the market, right? So we are open-minded to real estate transactions. I always say that real estate is like relationships, and you have to figure out who you are, if you're a rental person exclusively or a salesperson or a hybrid. Being a rental agent is like going on speed dating with clients, right? You'll meet them for 15 minutes. You'll think you had a great rapport. Then you never hear from them again. And you say, where did you go? I mean, what happened? I thought we had a good rapport. I was going to show you other places. And they're like, sorry, I found something else 10 minutes later. And, it hurts a little bit, the ego, because there's a lot of initial fast rejection, right? Where the buyers that we deal with, as you know, there's more of a commitment usually. It's not to say they won't jump around and go with somebody else, but usually they're more willing to sign a contract. The relationship is longer term. And when you start to work with them, that's a relationship that you're forming, and you may be with them for weeks on end. And so people who like to have a more in-depth relationship with people tend to work better with buyers. I have buyer's agents that don't work well with rentals, because it's like, wow, I took that person out for an hour. I showed them 3 places. It was great. And then they just ghosted me. Buyers, they tend to be a little bit different because their mindset is different. They know it's long term. They're looking for guidance. But yeah, we do everything. I mean, we like the flavor of it. We like that it turns into greater opportunity like you were talking about. But you know what? 50% of my market is rentals. I mean, what am I going to do? Just ignore it? So we do it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And for 2019, what are we looking for in 2019? I know that you always have that rental base. You always have that like college base in the University of Massachusetts at Lowell situation, which is, probably, nice. That kind of like, helps pay the rent. So it provides like a nice steady business there. That's how I kind of feel about, the rental business that I do. There's always people coming into the city going to rent apartments. That's probably not going to go away. But for either buyers or sellers, let's take especially for buyers next year, people that are going to be entering the market, especially in this upcoming spring market, which really isn't that far away, as long as we can get through this winter, your predictions for the 2019 spring market in Greater Lowell.
I mean, right now we're seeing that the low end is on fire. And by that, I mean, if you're 10% below the median average, in Lowell, Billerica, Tewksbury, anywhere in Greater Lowell, Drake at Tingsboro, it's moving, and it's moving very nicely. We're finding resistance at anything that's 10% above the moving average for that community.
Give us a number for that. What would that be?
So like in Lowell,
approximately?
If you're in downtown Lowell and you're 250 or less, you're moving very quickly, right? So that's about the average. If you're in downtown Lowell and if you're at 350 or higher, you're struggling a little bit because you're above what the moving market is. If you're in downtown Lowell and you're selling at 200 or 189, you're going to move very quickly. And so if you're in Lowell and you're at 500 or 600, that market is struggling a little bit. And we're seeing that in all the towns.
What can you buy in Lowell for 220, 225, something like that?
Oh, man. What do you get for that? You can buy a cool 800 square foot loft in a downtown area, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, laundry in the unit, parking in a garage. I have a listing right now. It's $189, and it's a top floor corner penthouse. And it's a great unit. It's got unbelievable views of the city, and that's going to go quickly. It was on the market. We got 5 offers the first day. Financing fell through at the last minute, which you know how difficult that is. And now we just came back to market, and we'll be under agreement on a multi-offer situation by the weekend.
And lastly, just remind us, and thank you so much for coming. We're talking to Chris Doherty from Doherty Properties in Lowell, Massachusetts. Chris, does Lowell have train service to Boston?
Yeah, commuter rail takes 41, 42 minutes to North Station. There's bus access routes to Boston and the surrounding areas. It's a good spot because it's got major highway locations. I mean, you're 10 minutes to 93. 495 has multi-access points in the city, Route 3, so you can shoot up to the beach easily. You can shoot south to Boston very quickly. It's a great spot, and Lowell is on fire, and it's been on fire. I think what we'll see in the spring is it's too early to tell right now. We had a little bit of a pullback in October, November, and I was pulling some reports this morning. And it's like, days on market's down, pricing is up, but inventory's up. So it's hard what it seems like to me is that the good stuff is still moving quickly if it's priced right. The stuff that's kind of overpriced, outdated, in bad shape, where there's a lot of it, is sitting. And so folks need to be a little bit realistic and start to move their pricing down a little bit. But the good stuff is still going. And you know what? Honestly, I don't see a stop to it. I mean, I know we're hearing cool downs and other stuff. At least the way our market is, we put 12 under agreement last week, which is pretty good. We're getting calls. Our online traffic is as good as it was last year. The job market is still strong. Interest rates are creeping down a little bit again here. So we're not in the 5s. We're now in the 4s. So I think this is going to be the chance for people, if rates kind of hover or come down, they got to say lock it in before the rates shoot up. That'd be my prediction.
Even though, I mean, even still 5-something is still,
it's crazy.
When we're old like this, we still know that 5-something is still historically pretty good.
People are buying at 17 and 18%, back in the olden days.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, Chris. I really appreciate you being with us today. Again, Chris Doherty from Doherty Properties. Chris will be dividing this up into little sound bites of your wisdom over the next couple of days. We'll tag you that on Instagram, and we'll put the whole thing up on YouTube as well. Chris, thanks so much for joining us. And
I appreciate it.
Go have a profitable day.
Let's do it. You too. Thank you so much. I appreciate being on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks very much.
Have a great day.
Talk to you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.